Coming up on First at 4, though it has been almost 2 weeks since parts of eastern Kentucky were flooded, some people in one part of Leslie County are still trapped. And an Eastern Kentucky Police Department is warning parents about the dangers of their teens using THC e-cigarettes.
And if you're looking for warmer weather, we have to get through one brief snow chance before that weekend warm-up. First at 4 is next.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, it's been about a week and a half since floodwaters tore through our region. We've told you many times about the problems people in the confluence area of Leslie County have faced. Thankfully, roads are drying out, but there are still people who can either not get to their homes or cannot leave them. WYMT's Connor James has the latest from Confluence.
Yeah, I'm told there's still about 10 to 15 homes trapped by floodwater, but that number has significantly gone down from last week. A lot of those roads that were covered with water are finally clear and people are being able to drive over them. Driveways still remain a problem for some people who are blocked in. And there's been a handful of other organizations that have come out to help and supply food to those people who are still trapped by floodwaters. There are multiple boats from the county, boats from the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and boats from other organizations.
Yes, it's been hectic. I mean, initially we started with just the one boat, and thanks to the state Department of Fish and Wildlife, they came in and helped us. That was a big help, taking food and water down to the people that were stranded.
Now, I am told by officials the lack of rain has helped them quite a bit. There's been no more flooding since that initial incident. They tell me they hope the rest of the water will recede in the coming days. I'm in Leslie County. Connor James, WYMT Mountain News.
Coming up at 6, we'll talk to one woman who spent about 2 weeks in a hotel because her house is still cut off by the floodwater. A drill to make sure people are safe. This week is Severe Weather Awareness Week in Kentucky, and today at 10:07 a.m., people across the Commonwealth participated in a tornado drill. At Hazard Middle School, students filled the halls and got on their hands and knees to practice just in case the worst were to ever happen.
Our number one priority is always student safety. So, you plan for the worst, but you hope for the best. So it's important that we practice these things in the event that it really happened. We would know how to handle it and what to do.
Allen says this came at a time when teachers and students are talking about the tornado that killed 23 people in Alabama just this past weekend.
Well, it will not be long before severe weather season rolls into the mountains. Right now, we're thinking about the cold and maybe even an isolated snow chance in a little bit more than 24 hours from now. We take a look at Pine Mountain there, and you'll notice along US 119 as you head out of Whitesburg. Well, a much more calmer pattern compared to what it was today. Once again, that light snow blanketing many areas early this morning and quickly fading away with clear blue skies at this time, not only in Whitesburg, but at the National Weather Service camera in Jackson. A beautiful view, hardly any clouds in sight. But as we head into tonight, we'll look at a system arriving from the southwest, and cloud cover will become a little bit more present tonight and into that Thursday forecast. Of course, temperatures right now right on par with where we expected. Low to mid 30s across eastern Kentucky, 33 in Jackson and 30 in Moorhead. Those upper 30s, they continue in Middlesboro. But Steve, as we head into Thursday night, there's going to be a chance of a light snow, not for everyone, but mainly areas to the north. We'll break down our latest thoughts coming up in a few short minutes.
All right, thank you very much, Andrew. A Southern Kentucky police chief says parents need to be on the lookout for what could be a dangerous e-cigarette that, while legal in other states, could be harmful for kids. Police in Whitley County say the vapes have marijuana in them, but are smoked like regular e-cigarettes. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on why police are so concerned.
Police say they've received information that kids could be the primary target to sell these vapes to. Now, the problem is that these vapes have a high concentration of THC. That's the main ingredient in marijuana. Police got an alert after they served a search warrant on King Mountain Spur Road, where they recovered a lot of marijuana cash, some handguns, and these marijuana vapes. They made 2 arrests. Police believe the vapes may have come from California, and they believe teenagers could be buying them. But Chief Wayne Bird says the results could be really dangerous.
But my concern is our kids, because these vapes that are 93, 94% THC for a first-time user, it can be toxic, and it could send you to the ER.
According to a popular website that talks about the dangers of drug use, 1 in 3 high school seniors are using the vapes. And what's really scary about these marijuana vapes is that you really can't tell the difference between that one and a regular e-cigarette when one is smoking them. In Whitley County, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Police say, to their knowledge, no teenagers have suffered medical emergencies in Whitley County while using the vapes, but they have heard of problems in other areas. U.S. health officials have approved a medication related to the mind-altering drug ketamine as a new option for patients with severe depression. The Food and Drug Administration today cleared the inhalable drug for patients who have failed to find relief with older antidepressants. The new drug from Johnson & Johnson acts on different brain chemicals than decades-old antidepressants like Prozac. When it works, the new drug takes effect almost instantly. The FDA will require J&J to track patients to better understand the drug's safety and effectiveness.
There are quite a few studies now that have shown that it works in depression, but it's not just that it works in depression, it works in a completely different way to all other antidepressants that we have to date.
The medication is a chemical cousin of ketamine, a drug long used in surgery that was adopted as an illegal party drug in the 1990s. It is one of several psychedelic drugs that are being reconsidered for depression. A crash involving a school bus and garbage truck injured 21 people in Indiana this morning. It happened around 8 o'clock when the school bus rear-ended the garbage truck. The truck's driver was outside the vehicle helping a customer at the time. The bus was carrying children from several different schools. 19 of them were injured, as well as the bus and truck drivers. Snowy conditions kept first responders from using a helicopter to transport the most severely injured victims. Authorities are investigating what caused the crash. Congress held several hearings today looking at border security and President Trump's national emergency declaration that would allow him to take money from various government projects to fund a southern border wall. Customs and Border Protection reported February numbers showing the highest total of undocumented immigrants crossing the border in 12 years. Families with children made up more than half of those detained. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen told lawmakers there is an emergency on the southern border that can only be fixed with a border wall.
We need a barrier. We cannot take operational control of the border without it.
Next week, the Senate is expected to vote on a House-passed resolution blocking President Trump's national emergency declaration to get border wall funding. Want to make $1,000? Well, Republicans in Virginia are offering the reward if someone can give them photo evidence of the state's attorney general wearing blackface in the 1980s. Virginia's Democratic Attorney General Mark Herring admitted last month that he wore blackface once at a college party as part of his costume. The Republican Party posted on its website yesterday saying, quote, Herring claims to not know if there is a photo, but does anyone really believe him? Herring apologized for wearing blackface and said his participation showed he had a lack of awareness and insensitivity. A man's dying wish to speak to President Trump has come true, and it's all thanks to his sister, who happens to be a Democrat. Jay Barrett has cystic fibrosis, and one of his bucket list items was getting the president to reach out to him. Well, his sister, Bridget Hosky, emailed the White House to see if something could be done, and her efforts paid off. She says President Trump was able to talk to Barrett on the phone yesterday for about 3 minutes. Barrett also got a call from the president's son, Eric Trump, who told him the First Family is praying for him.
He's Coke, I'm Pepsi. He's the Celtics, I'm the Bulls, Giants, Cowboys, Republican, Democrat.
It's like a big deal. I got emotional about it.
The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Regional Chief Lynn Patton plans to bring Barrett a signed gift from the president this weekend. Another item on his bucket list is to see his beloved Mets on opening day. Let's head over to Wall Street now on this Wednesday afternoon. The Dow closes down today more than 133 points. Straight ahead on First at 4, he denies allegations of sexual misconduct. R. Kelly's explosive interview on CBS This Morning.
And our next No Chance is just a little more than 24 hours away. We'll break down what we know coming up.
Look out for flying t-shirts. If you see WYMT at your high school game, it could be fans in the stands night. Sponsored by Lincoln Memorial University.
You may never need an attorney, but if you do, you should be prepared. Tune in to Simply the Law.